We waited for 30 long years and we finally got a stadium premium live event in the United Kingdom. And may I say, I thought it was a solid show from start to finish. I thought there was a lot of enjoyable moments, many highs, maybe a couple of lows, maybe a slight bit of disappointment if you are a Drew McIntyre fan and you wanted to see him bring home the gold in the United Kingdom. Maybe disappointment if you wanted Roman Reigns' championship run to end after 2 solid years. But all in all, I thought there were a lot of positives about this show. I'm going to go into great detail with them. Apologies for the delay of the start time. Of course, if you're watching on delay, this won't matter to you too much, but for those in the live area, I unfortunately had a couple of obligations I had to do. That's why I've got here a bit later. But we're going to talk about Clash of the Castle. We're going to talk about the show from start to finish. Going to go through some of the comments that are already coming flying in as well. Let's go into it and let's give the review of Clash of the Castle. I've also seen the press conference as well, so if there are any questions regarding that press conference, I can give my reaction to that as well, and also on the road to Extreme Rules. So seeing Nation Dog said, very angry right now. I'm assuming that's nothing to do with Cardiff. I'm assuming that is to do with Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, retaining the championship, of course, this evening against Drew McIntyre. Tino with the money question, asking, what's up, Steve? How are you feeling? And he wanted to know what upset C Nation. Of course, C Nation comes in and says, I'm upset because I'm tired of Roman Reigns. I just want something fresh, which I think many people do. I don't think you're on your own with that, C Nation. But to answer your question, how I'm feeling good. Like I said, I thought the show was good. I think there were a couple of real standout matches. I actually think up until the finish, to finish the show, the last 10 minutes, I thought was a little bit sketchy. But, up to that with the main event match, I would turn around and say that's one of the matches of the year with the crowd emotion, everything like that goes into it, the back and forth. I loved the tease of the Austin Theory cash in for Tyson Fury to knock him out. I thought that was brilliant. I genuinely laughed out loud, which I don't do so much to WWE these days when I see their attempt at comedy. I thought it was very well executed. I love that, like I said, the crowd indication with Drew McIntyre was absolutely outstanding. They thought the hometown hero was going to do it. The near falls we got in the match, the tease of Karrion Kross, if he would get involved or not. And of course, when the bloodline, of course, can't be involved, of course, commentary made mention the Usos were not in town. They were not medically cleared. Sami Zayn was not in town. He was not medically cleared either after SmackDown. So that meant Roman Reigns was literally in there on his own. I thought commentary did a great job of putting the doubts in mind if Roman can do this job on his own. But of course, when it's Roman Reigns, he's always got an Uso in his back pocket. And by Uso, I'm talking about the third Uso, Solo Sikoa, making his debut on the main roster. Looks like he's potentially done that with NXT. He's come up, he has protected Roman Reigns, he's helped Roman Reigns. When it looked like Drew was going to get that free count, he pulled the referee out of the ring. And of course, from that point onwards, Celebi, Roman Reigns would eventually go to pick up the victory. After the match went down, we got the stare down with Roman Reigns and Tyson Fury as well. I wondered if that would lead to anything, but we did see there had been a handshake there at the end. We did see they were getting on backstage as well. We did learn in the press conference, actually, with Tyson Fury that he's not going to be involved in ring with WWE for the time being. So I did feel at the end of this show, would we build to Roman versus Tyson at Crown Jewel? Could we actually lead to Drew versus Tyson Fury? I thought that's what we were going to go with, but instead we got American Pie. We got a bit of Oasis as well. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing for you here today, but still, it was a very interesting end of the show with that part. I mean, Drew McIntyre even asked if we're still on the air. I think it was the best attempt they could do to try and send fans home happy. But I think ultimately, when you look at the show from top to bottom with the other matches as well, you can't help but be happy. So how am I feeling? I'm feeling good. I feel that WWE delivered with Clash in the Castle. I think the UK delivered as well with Cardiff Wales as well. I think that the fan base that was there were absolutely amazing for, there were moments where the crowd was cooler, but I would say overall, this crowd was hot for the majority of the evening. I thought they were really loud for many of the bright spots of the show. Particularly, I love their reactions to Edge. I love how they played along with Bayley singing the song as usual, how Bayley would react that into the match as well. Thought bits like that were absolutely amazing. And I do hope that this is not the end of WWE and the United Kingdom with premium live events, whether it's an arena, whether it's another stadium show. I would love there to be a Clash of the Castle Part 2. I might even stick a tweet out later tonight, which I hope everyone would actually go and support. Let's do a petition. Let's get this where they do this again next year. I think it'd be awesome to see it once again. But I'll go through the rest of the cards. That's pretty much my thoughts there with the main event. Did I want Drew to win? Of course I did. Am I a bit disappointed he didn't? Of course. As a fan, I went in there thinking with my heart, rather than my head on the night. I will be honest with that. If I was thinking with my head, I would have gone even in the predictions. I would have said Roman Reigns, because you could see the signs, especially with the SmackDown as well at the end there. Drew was standing tall before going into the big show. That's usually a sign that they're not going to win on that big show. And he didn't do it. Roman Reigns was the one. Roman was the one with his back against the wall. And for Roman to show that he is the greatest of all time, the champion that he is right now, he needed to come out and he needed to, I say, win on his own. He needed to find another route and avenue to do so. But all in all, I am feeling pretty good after the show today, and I hope that everyone in the stateside enjoyed it as well, because it's a different time zone for you. For me, I was feeling fresh, I was feeling energized, feeling excited, and I felt as well I can actually do a review on the same day of the show. It's something I don't normally get to do. I usually have to wait till the next day to watch it because it's so late for my time zone, and of course then you usually have to wait till the next evening for me to do it because, well, I want to match it with the time zones to even get try and get some viewers to come and check out the review as well. I want you guys to be able to hang out with me when I talk about this stuff. And of course, that has to suit your time zone as well as it suits mine. Underground Temple Place, who was in the crowd as well, just got back from Clash in the Castle. We were still singing. I have lost my voice, but it's a good thing you can still put comments here on the stream. I'm glad about that. Did anyone see my sign? If Roman wins, we riot. We did indeed. If that was the one smack bang in the middle, I did see one as well. Said if Drew loses, we riot. So I wasn't sure which one it was when you first were messaging me about it, but if that's the one, it's actually the better sign of the two as well. So yeah, we did see that loud and clear. And C Nation did say, saw that as well. It was on the TV. Shame your face didn't come with it. That's the only thing though, Underground. We just saw the sign. If someone else saw the face, please let me know, because I'll go and actually pinpoint that moment so we can actually get that one of the streams going forward. Underground says you can acknowledge your head of the table and the prediction booking King Temple, who predicted we would see Solo Sikoa. I wondered who predicted that outcome. Give me a minute. I'll have a think about it. And of course, another comment here coming as well. Sure mentioned Solo Sikoa in one of SCW's live streams. You can thank me later. All things considered, gutted Drew didn't win, but I enjoyed it. So it's good thing you enjoyed the show. I think that's a big important thing. As for Solo Sikoa, I think many would say, look, it was a given that he would come to the main roster eventually. Of course, the Bloodline was the obvious option, but this show I didn't think was the obvious option. But when you look at how things played out, it did make the most logical sense. And Underground, if you did predict that, then fantastic. I think that was a good shout, and yeah, you can give yourself a good pat on the back there. But I'm thankful you didn't riot after Roman won. We do want more shows coming to the United Kingdom after all. Silesia said that I heard some people saying AEW after the match. Was that just me or did you? I heard it on the TV screen, so I can tell you without even needing to that yeah, that definitely happened. And of course, yeah, I'll keep on the swearing now off there, but definitely it was great to see Broken Dreams there coming there. And of course, told you with the legendary Bailey chants. And I must admit, it was one of the things I was most looking forward to. Noob and Co here saying also hello. It was a great main event. It certainly was. And like I say, I think it was one of the matches of the year. I'm not going to lie. I think it really was. There was a couple of other outstanding matches on this show as well. They were Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. Let's talk about a couple of those matches because people will be checking the stream want to know my thoughts on the actual show with these matches as well. I thought it was a really well executed match from start to finish with these two. But for me, of course, it comes down to that final sequence there, the storytelling that comes into a match, because you can do great moves into a match. Every match can be silkily put together and beautifully executed. But if you've got a story that executes towards the end of the match as well, it makes you think, oh, I've got some satisfaction from that result, and something we can play into a rematch further down the line. It was this match with Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, because the fact that Seth Rollins told him about his family, told him the fact that his family would be ashamed of him, the fact that they were right to divorce him, how he'd never see his kids again. Matt Riddle completely lost it when Seth Rollins was laying there with the table, and Matt Riddle trying to execute using the steel chair. He'd lost his head when he came back into the ring, fell victim to the curb stomp, and then after that, of course, the curb stomp from Seth jumping from the second rope to pick up the pinfall victory. I thought was absolutely outstanding. Gunther versus Sheamus. I mean, my goodness, the meat slapping meat in that match was outstanding. Again, one of those real hard-hitting affairs. Another great match. Different matches that were excellent and beautifully executed in many different ways, which I think makes this a really standout show, why people would enjoy it so much as well. When you look at things there with Gunther and Sheamus, I mean, Sheamus's chest must be as red as his hair at this point. It must be very, very sore in the morning. Gunther as well took quite a bit of a pasting also. And I mean, in the end, Gunther managed to retain the Intercontinental Universal Championship as expected. But I loved the big send-off from the UK crowd to Sheamus at the end of it, standing up there. It was almost like a Chris Benoit moment from the Royal Rumble in 1993, just standing there, the adulation from the hometown crowd. I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Like I said, those are probably my favourite matches of the show, if being brutally honest. We'll go through the rest of them, then I can go through your comments all completely, and then we do that to the end of the stream. I think that's the best way to do it. I know I've sort of done mix and match rather than chronological order here, but still, we're talking about the talking points. We're talking about what excited me from the show. And as well, I would say I loved the Dominic heel turn. I've got to say, the fact is, if you'd have told me beforehand how this was going to be executed, I did feel that Dominic was going to cost them the match, but I didn't know if it would be intentional in the end or not. I know I said in the prediction show originally that Dom would turn on Ray, but then I had second doubts as we got towards the show. I was like, maybe it's just Edge. Maybe they'll just sort of delay this and make it go all the way to WrestleMania or something like this, maybe the Royal Rumble. Instead, nope, they shot the angle because we've been waiting for it for a long time to happen. I love the fact that Edge and Rey Mysterio actually got the victory thanks to Dominic. And then at the point is, well, you actually needed me. The kick to the groin to Edge. Edge's eyes they really told a story there. One was like, oh my God, how could you? Didn't see it coming. Dominic then turning on his father, the aggression, the way that Dominic actually sold it as well. I think Dominic deserves a lot of credit because Dominic actually played that role to a T. Judgment Day were laughing and lapping it up. I don't think it's necessarily with Judgment Day. I'd love him to be with Legado del Fantasma, but I don't think that's going to happen either at this stage. I think Dominic right now, they're going to try him on his own, and I think they're going to see how they can do it. Judging how he was tonight at Clash of the Castle, one of the big talking points coming out of the show, I thought it was very well executed. Let's see how it progresses on Raw over the next sort of coming weeks. We could even get the Dominic versus Ray match at Extreme Rules. I wouldn't be surprised. And just to say, big shout out to the UK crowd as well for singing along to Edge. And you could tell Edge was really touched by the reaction he got by the UK crowd. And coming out to that wearing the mask as well, I thought was a fun touch. I just got to mention as well, Seth Rollins' ring attire was absolutely amazing as well. Speaking of great ring attire as well, Liv Morgan deserves a special shout out as well. She actually was wearing, if you remember SummerSlam 1992, anybody in the chat, she was actually wearing what Sensational Sherry, a sort of similar attire to what that was. It was a tribute to Sensational Sherry, which I thought was a really, really nice touch, really nice outfit. And I think as well, her against Shayna Baszler, probably the weak point of the show, if being brutally honest here. I don't think that the crowd was as into this match as they were the other matches, but still, I think the job was done that needed to be done. Liv Morgan picking up the victory eventually with the Oblivion after a code breaker, which was made mention on commentary. Should mention as well, Roman Reigns hit a rock bottom, which was mentioned on commentary as well. I do wonder if they are hoping for Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania next year. We'll have to wait and see if that will come down. And of course, the opening match as well. We shouldn't ignore that also. The fact that Damage Control did get the victory as expected over Bianca Belair, over Asuka, over Alexa Bliss. For me, this match was slightly longer than it needed to be, perhaps in the middle part of the act. I thought the opening and the ending were executed perfectly. The middle act, I think, told its story very well, though. The fact that Bianca Belair couldn't get into the match, it was divide and conquer during this show. The fact as well that we had, Alexa Bliss taken out with Asuka taken out. Asuka was the one that was beaten down for a lot of the match, to the point that when Bianca Belair finally got into the match, she was overcome in the end by all three members of Damage Control. And of course, all three finishing moves being hit there on Bianca Belair. Bayley picking up the victory. You know now we're going that destination afterwards. Bayley versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. I would expect that to go down at Extreme Rules. And I cannot forget either, there were tributes as well to the Bulldog family. Bret Hart was in attendance. Like I said, Tyson Fury was in attendance. I forget one of the other UK wrestlers that was meant to be in attendance as well. Unfortunately, name escapes my brain at this particular moment. But as well, the kickoff I thought was really fun. We had Austin Theory with Alpha Academy going against the Street Profits and Madcap Moss. I thought that was a decent match as well. But of course, it's going to be remembered for that ending of the match as well. The springboard blockbuster that was done over the top for Montez Ford, the Street Profits done on the rest of the combatants on the floor was amazing, followed by that frog splash there from Montez Ford on Chad Gable to pick up the W. I thought for me, all in all, I thought this was a really, really, really good show. And to give my take on it, I hope there's a clash too. Whether it's going to be a year or two from now, I hope the WWE will go back and do this for the UK once again. To give my rating for the show, I think out of 10, I'm going to go with an 8. I'm really going to go high for this because I think, there was a couple of things that were, say, flatter than others, if you want, a couple of moments in the show. But overall, I think everything delivered. I thought there were 3 really outstanding matches for different reasons. Like I said, the hard-hitting of Gunther versus Sheamus. I thought that Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins was a well-executed modern-day match with a great bit of storytelling in it. And I'm going to make the comparison. I think it's a bit of a weird comparison to make, but it really reminded me Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns at points of WrestleMania 18 with The Rock and Hogan. The crowd were a big part of this match. It was a well-told story from start to finish with that match. I thought it was one of the matches of the year. I just think perhaps the ending of the show takes away from it from being perhaps the top match of the year, but I definitely think it's in top 5 and I definitely think it's in contention. What a match. What a way to finish the show. And I think it was very worthy of a United Kingdom pay-per-view. I don't think this was house show worthy at all. Like you can say, perhaps when they go overseas to some other places, they gave everything tonight. And what you saw in the press conference as well, Liv Morgan actually said outright, this felt like a WrestleMania because 62, nearly 63,000 people in the building. And I'll tell you what, they really, really lapped it up. And there was some great content creators in there as well. Give a shout to a few people that I know that were there. And like I say, Underground Table Place, who's actually in the chat right now, was there. We had Josie Chats Wrestling was with me on the predictions along with NX Steve as well. We had WrestleMania UK was there. He's been doing some press stuff in the media. So he was with doing an interview with Bianca Belair at one point. I can't wait to check that out. From Wrestlings as well, I think were there also. I believe Dan Williams was there also. I saw a picture on Twitter of him towards there at the top end there with the ring and the crowd behind. Amazing. That's a DM in the future for him. And as well, the WrestleSlam podcast, Irish Wrestling Entertainment as well. They've been in the chat a few times, been doing some collaborations on a few of these videos as well. So I hope everyone had an amazing time. Hope they enjoyed Clash of the Castle. And let's get into the chat. Let's see what everybody else has got to say. C Nation says, why are Roman Reigns matches always overbooked? I mean, this was overbooked, but what I would say is that look, this was well executed. I mean, the thing is, the story here, coming out of it, Roman's now going to be off for a little while. So, yeah, that's not great. Our champion isn't going to be around. But Roman's managed to get there. He's got a new piece in the puzzle with Solo Sikoa. The bloodline is stronger than ever. What does this mean for Sami Zayn's dynamic in the group as well? So there's lots of questions with the bloodline going forth now. Will we get a 4-man bloodline without Roman on TV for the next few weeks? We said about this idea of KO and Sami eventually getting together against the Usos. If they do, they've got Solo watching the back of the Usos now. So that's going to be fun to see how that story is all going to play out. So I'm fine with how that worked out. I love the Austin Theory and Tyson Fury, but like I said, I laughed out loud for it. I thought it was awesome. I thought Austin Theory sold the punch so darn well. There's almost like Tyson and Michaels from WrestleMania 14 was brilliant. Absolutely loved it. And I've got to say a little shout out as well. Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross will be the future going forward in WWE by the looks of things. Karrion Kross was at ringside. And you can see now, all the things we've seen with Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre being the chosen one. Well, Karrion Kross has now got the stigma to say, you've been meant to be the chosen one. You were supposed to get the job done. I didn't even interfere, really, and you still couldn't get it done. And now he's going to prove that he should be the top guy. So I think there's a lot of things that worked with key components of their match, a lot of things coming out of the storytelling. So for me, I'm quite happy with it overall. I'm not going to lie. But I'm pleased that this is cheering you up a little bit. I'm pleased it's cheering you up. Oh, Sally can wait. Underground, I'm sure. If I'm not, you're from Manchester, aren't you? If I'm not mistaken, you would have been singing that loud and proud. I'm pretty sure of that. Sination goes on and says, well, I'm tired of WWE pushing the same guy. At least we've got AEW doesn't push the same guy over and over. Well, we'll have to wait and see with that with All Out, won't we? We'll have to wait and see. Could be interesting to see how that will play into a dynamic tomorrow. Those predictions are already on the channel for anyone that hasn't seen them. Sination also saying that the Drew McIntyre and Tyson Fury thing should have been off camera. Potentially should have been. I thought it was a bit awkward. I was waiting for Tyson Fury to hit Drew McIntyre. Never happened. So, I mean, it is what it is. It didn't happen. It was something that we didn't need to see. And I don't think everyone stuck around for it. But for those that did, I hope they enjoyed it. Hope they're nice to sing along. Hope it sent them home more happy because some people perhaps thought we needed someone to come and surprise to end the show off. Maybe a Braun Strowman, maybe a Bray Wyatt. But none of those people were in attendance. We didn't get any returns tonight. I think that should be pointed out. I thought Charlotte Flair would return after the Liv Morgan match to confront her to set a new program up. We didn't get that. We didn't get who else? We didn't get Sasha Banks and Naomi. I think that they're going to be safe for weekly TV. Probably more likely a Monday Night Raw, maybe a Friday Night SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see. Also, until now, we have to wait for WrestleMania 39 for Roman Reigns to lose his undisputed WWE Universal Championship. We may not. We'll have to wait and see with that. We do have some other comments that come in, but C Nation, yours are all towards the top of the minute, so I'm going to go through yours first. I'm going to go through chronological order, if you don't mind, because otherwise I will get lost. So apologies to those who have thrown comments in. We'll get into them very shortly. Prediction was Drew McIntyre to win the championship. I have a feeling Roman would retain, as did I. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I went with my heart, not with my head. And that's, I think, what it comes down to, heart over head. And I must admit, I enjoyed that I actually voted with my heart because I was really invested more in the match than sometimes what I am for some of these shows. I think you can all tell, actually, I was really into Clash of the Castle. I loved it. It wasn't just because the fact it was in the United Kingdom. I was just sold on the idea of some dreams that could happen. And we got broken dreams on the night as well. And that's something we can take away as well. What was the point of Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in title matches only for them to lose? One of them should have won. Well, they were in Canada the other week, and Sami Zayn lost the number one contenders match for the IC title to get it, which Sheamus got hold of, and Natalia lost as well. So it does seem to happen from WWE. It's not uncommon. Roman Reigns is never going to drop the Undisputed Championship. In 80 years, his ashes will be defending it. Goodness. And that's a comment. Well, I'm going to start calling Roman San Martino from this point onwards. I think that's a fair thing to do. And WWE needs to stop overbooking Roman Reigns matches. It's okay to have a little bit of cheating, but that's too much for me. Well, Roman finds a way each and every time. We did even have a wise man. And I love that was a little token that was put as well. The wise man wasn't there. Roman had to do it all for himself. Noob and Co, how are you doing? I'm surprised that Michael Cole mentioned Oscar and Io Sky's history, especially that old faction from Japan. At Triple Towers, it's our first step of an Oscar versus Io Sky match at WrestleMania in Hollywood. It may even be before then at this point, Noob. I'm really buzzing for it. I don't know if I want to wait that long, if I'm honest with you, but hey, if it's at WrestleMania, it's WrestleMania worthy. And yeah, I must admit, I was surprised at the mention as well. I'm going to be honest with you as well, though. I sound pretty surprised at the mention. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know. So the fact is, for me, I think it's quite cool that they brought it up. It shows that stuff happens outside of WWE. There's a realism. It's not just one company in this world. People don't just turn up and magically can wrestle. They've been other places. I think it's well respected that they start bringing some of this to our attention. And I feel that with Triple H, Japan is one that is going to get some mentions going forward because it's less likely they'll mention AEW unless they feel that they have to, or at least tease it. With Cody Rhodes, they tease it. If they got MJF, they tease it. But with Japan, I think it's more likely they could just give it a shout out. I don't think they see it as the same market as what they're trying to actually go for at the moment. Martin Korea in the house. What's up? SCW looks like the premium live event schedule worked in your favor. It certainly did. And it's the first time for everything. But as I say, for the American viewers, how did you feel? Was it all right for you? Did it interrupt your day? I mean, if you see in your Pacific time, you were actually watching this in the morning. If you're in Eastern, of course, I think it's early afternoon, midday for Central time. So I'd like to know people's thoughts on it. How did you feel watching? Would it affect you if that happened again? And what's as well, just for the Crown Jewel shows, the Saudi shows, is it the same sort of similar time? What's it like having shows overseas? Because judging by the press conference from Triple H, we could be getting more of them in the future. Does that affect you as an American viewer? Because obviously WWE is in America most of the time, and that's the audience they want to cater to most. I'm sure they want to keep everyone from the United States happy and watching these shows regardless. The Judgment Day always lose tag team matches. Yes, they do. I thought they were going to win this one. And here's the thing. No one's mentioned Finn Balor. Finn Balor's from Ireland, and he also lost on this show. So it just goes to show that it didn't really work for any of the Brits or Irish on this particular show. But hey, maybe there's always a next time. We'll have to wait and see. I wonder, shouldn't Oscar and Alexa have taken the pin instead of Bianca? Very good point, this one. Here's the thing. I think they did it with Bianca because of the fact they want to build the championship match. With Bayley pinning Bianca, she is straight up number one contender. They don't need to do any sort of contendership matches now on Raw or championship contender matches. Don't give us those. Bayley has the pin already. She's done it in a significant moment on a big high-profile pay-per-view. Premium live event. So now they should go straight in to the next one. And I think Oscar and Alexa probably can go off and do their own thing after this, unless they want to continue going for the tag team titles. Although, as I said previously, I do think they should go and be rivals. I think that would be interesting. Particularly, I'd have Alexa as the heel, if you wanted my opinion. Dominic did it for Eddie. Certainly the haircut. There's no question with that. Will he actually come out and say anything like that going forward? We've seen Rhea have the "I'm Your Puppy" T-shirt. Who knows what's going to go forward with Dominic now? But one thing's for sure, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. I think the crowd are going to, and a lot of fantasy booking people on YouTube with Dominic turning on Ray, especially with the history of Ray, Eddie Guerrero as well from SummerSlam 2005. But Dominic going forward, I think it's going to be very interesting. One of the things I'm actually looking forward to most about Monday Night Raw this week, and you didn't think I'd say that a couple of weeks ago, would you? Bayley pinning Bianca was perfect with now she's exactly what I said a minute ago, C Nation. So thank you. It's nice to know we've got some people chatting together in the chat as well. Helps the algorithm, so I'm quite happy with that. Undergrass says my other prediction is coming with Dominic Mysterio with Legado del Fantasma. Move Dom and Ray to SmackDown and Legado to SmackDown. Well, Legado could even show up on Raw at this point. If there's not going to be a draft till after WrestleMania, I don't want to keep Legado off our screens until then. And Raw need tag teams, so maybe it makes sense for Legado to come to Raw at the minute. I'd probably be okay with the main event finish if they hadn't done it before, but there's always a ref bump in Roman matches, and it did feel repetitive. But anyways, enjoyed the match, and I would kind of agree to a point. That was a slight takeaway from me. I would have loved it if this had been a clean finish. I think I would have said match of the year, but still, I think it's not far off. I think, like I say, it's in top five, particularly in WWE standpoints. I'd say it's in the top two, maybe three matches. I think Cody and Seth is probably at that top point. I think Bianca and Becky Lynch on WrestleMania may go that second. I go with a triple threat with the ladies as well. Is probably third or fourth along with this match. We've got Luca AFC in house. Thank you, Luca, for joining the stream. Says Reigns going to drop the belts at Mania. Certainly could do. Would it be the Cody? Would it be Seth? Luca, give us a shout. We'd like to know in the comments below who you think it's going to be too. Martin says, I wonder if you or other fans were upset by not seeing a big return surprise. I personally was just looking forward to the matches where we got some surprises already. I felt the same, if I'm honest. Of course, if you're in the live crowd and when you think that the show is happening in the UK, you think, oh, what if? And of course, at the moment in WWE, there is going to be natural speculation with each and every show. I don't think it's uncommon. So here's my take on it. I kind of felt like let's enjoy it for what it is. We've not had a show in the UK for so long in a premium event in a stadium. It's actually been 20 years since a pay-per-view. I believe it's Insurrection 2003 was the last time we had a pay-per-view in the United Kingdom. 2004 we started getting Raw and SmackDowns, which, don't get me wrong, weekly TV. I think that's pretty cool. I would love to hope that will continue. Hopefully next year, and this is me getting my way here, Martin. So if you disagree, I totally understand it from the American market. But what I would say is that I would love to have where we'd have a Raw and a SmackDown and a pay-per-view in the same week. I think that would be pretty awesome. I did see the fan put the sign there with WrestleMania. One can dream. I don't think we're going to get that. But one thing with Cardiff, I think you may have noticed that the roof looked to be closed on that. And I think that's an important thing. That could go in the United Kingdom's favour. And I think I'd love to see, I don't think we'd ever get a WrestleMania, but I'd love to see a Royal Rumble come over. I think I'd be hyped with that one. I think I'd even be tempted to try and make a visit over, a flight over to that one if I could. Underground Thomas says Tyson Fury should have punched Roman the same way like Tyson did to Michaels, with McIntyre getting the win. The crowd was loud. I had to tell my partner to get a drink about 8 times. I wouldn't be surprised with that. I mean, to be fair, I mean, when I did the Survivor Series last year, you do get thirsty after a while in those chairs. So yeah, but the thing is, going back to your comment there, I think it would have been a natural thing to have done, even if they'd done it with Fury and McIntyre. I thought that's where they were going at the end there, but at the same time, it wasn't to be. Luke asking, what did I think of Clash of the Castle? I really enjoyed it overall. Like I said, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 there. I've gone through a lot of the matches already, so I don't want to do that again. It took me about 15 minutes to go through everything there, so I'd recommend going back if you've missed any of that. But what I would say is that I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I say, 3 real stand-up matches on this show for me, and I think that I definitely, this is a show that I would go back and watch again. Hopefully, maybe 5-10 years' time. I do retro reviews on this channel from time to time. This is certainly one that I'd like to go back in about a decade or so and cover it on the channel if I'm still doing a podcast, of course, and providing I've not gone too grey, bald, or any of the rest of it. But who knows what the future holds? We'll worry about that another time. Temple says, I've already read that one. There we go. We'll come back to that one there. I think some of my comments have actually gone backwards here. Let's see. C-Nation saying no title changes tonight. No, that'd be a trivia question because usually we always get one on a show. So next time you get a trivia, when's the last time there was no title changes on the premium live event? Clash of the Castle. There you go. And since I had to wake up at 11 a.m. for this show, would that also be for the kickoff? I get so confused now. We've had buy-ins and count-ins and countdowns and all the rest of it. Kickoff show, I'm guessing, as well here. Martin says I'm in Central Time and I live in Mexico, so it was all right for me to go up at 12 p.m. But I personally like it at night time in my time zone. And why wouldn't you? I think that's natural. I mean, you've got a bit of a buzz. Maybe it's a good time to, I don't know, have a drink. If everyone's legally able to do so. I mean, I'm legally able to do so, but this isn't vodka, as I always joke every time. I can imagine if I did vodka during these streams, that'd be quite entertaining, probably for many of you. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, I understand why you'd want it in the evening time. But for me, this is actually for the first time is in the evening. I probably could have done with it 2 hours later, if I'm honest with you. Perhaps because we had a 6 p.m. start time for the UK, 7 p.m. for the European time zone. So I think another hour or two could have been fine for the middle of the afternoon. But again, it is to everyone's preference. I'm just glad we got one. I ain't going to complain. I'd have been fine if it was at 8 o'clock in the morning, personally. C-Nation Dog says, Dominic Mysterio get a big punishment from Rey Mysterio. Can you imagine Thanksgiving at that household? My goodness, it's going to be interesting how that's going to be, especially around the holiday season. Reigns going to keep those belts till May at 23. You could be right at this point. I think the Royal Rumble would be the next likely risky time potentially, unless they split the belts up, because we've got Survivor Series, brand versus brand, usually champion versus champion. So we can keep an eye out for that. Or will Roman just simply defend at Survivor Series? That could be interesting as well. Thanks everyone that's checking into the video, by the way. There's lots of new people just dropping in. Drop in with your questions, anything about the show, anything about the press conference, anything you think about WWE moving forward as well, going into Extreme Rules. If you're enjoying the video, then please do consider hitting the like button. Really does help with the algorithms. Drop in comments as well. Like I said, helps spread the word here on the channel. And subscribe if you're first time here and you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel. And like I say, lots of content on here. But we'll go for more comments to go through. Martin Guerrero says, Dominic getting tired of Ray, so maybe he wants a daddy that can carry him. Yeah, perhaps Ray was getting a bit huffy every time he had to carry Dominic to the ring, or vice versa. He's sick of carrying Ray. But at the same time, maybe go with Rhea Ripley, who we'll have to wait and see. I don't think he'll join Judgment Day. We'll have to wait and see on it. Why is there always ref bumps in Roman Reigns matches? I'm not sure, but at least it's not like WCW days where it used to be a ref bump in almost every single match. At least it's saved to like one time per show these days. I can deal with that. Cody, I think Cody could be a good shout there. Cody versus Reigns at WrestleMania. Luca, we could be on the same wavelength at this point. I don't think personally anyone else could be taking the title. Karrion Kross could be if they want to push him that heavy, but he's just come back, and we have to get to where we've forgotten about how he was the last time he was around. I think it could be a little bit uncertain. I think if anyone's going to take over Reigns before that isn't Cody, I will go Seth Rollins at this particular time. There we go. So, Cody Rhodes will beat Roman Reigns to win the Undisputed Championship at next year's SummerSlam, because Roman Reigns will face The Rock at WrestleMania 39. Would be down for that. It would be a dream. And if we've seen the interview that Triple H did with the BT Sports, I forget the guy's name, but it's a fascinating interview. Go and check it out if you haven't. It's about an hour and 15 minutes long. And of course, he did say the door is open for The Rock. If there's business to do with The Rock, he will have him in. And a bit of breaking news from tonight. For anyone that's not seen the press conference, he did give a spoiler and saying he's going to have a meeting shortly with Bad Bunny. So looks like Bad Bunny could be on his way back to WWE at some stage. And let's not forget, he did actually perform the Royal Rumble this year. And he did recently just win a VMA, if I'm not mistaken, for Artist of the Year, one of the top musical artists in the world to come back to WWE. That will draw some numbers. So I think that could be a good thing if they can bring him back. And he's performed well when he's been there. Martin Carrera says, also SCW, did you enjoy more this match or the match of Roman Drew back in Survivor Series 2020? I'm going to say this one, and like I say, and I think the audience is a big part of it. I just love the way that the audience were part of it. The Thunderdome, for me, the era of that, don't get me wrong, was great Survivor Series 2020, but without an audience, you can't get that same energy. So this one for me is the one. It's the best Roman Drew match I think they've ever done. We say, C Nation, Fury coming at the main event was so pointless. They just wanted Tyson Fury to punch someone on the show. They did. And you know what? I think they executed very well. And I think that that's a Sports Center moment. If you want ESPN or if you want UK television to be saying, oh, look, this happened on the show, you can't just have simply Roman retain, because not the whole country, particularly if you think the United Kingdom, for example, here or whatever, you want to have this on news outlets afterwards. People don't know, everyone knows and watches WWE, but they all know of Tyson Fury. He's one of the top boxers in the world, not just in our country. He's a world heavyweight champion. He's undefeated. So you can put that on a this morning. You can put it on the news. And that can be a clip that maybe is allowed to go on, because obviously you don't have Roman hitting the spear, the 1, 2, 3 or whatever. You're gonna have that's your Sports Center moment if you're in the States. So that's why for me it's not pointless. If anything, it's perfection. It's a good thing that they did so. Lucas says 7 out of 10 for the show. Feel free to put in your ratings as well. Out of 10, I'd like to know what everyone thinks of this show. Here we go. Underground says, I was there 30 years ago, and now my son is there 30 years later. What a magical moment, because I'm sure for you 30 years ago, that was a magical show that you didn't forget why you're still here now. I'm hoping it's the same for your son as well. I hope you both had a fantastic time. Martin says, what about a Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank premium live event at Wembley Stadium? Sign me up. I would be well up for it, and I'm pretty sure I would do my best to be there if either of those shows were to come there. If I could have been there at Clash today, I would have done. I had other obligations that stopped me from being able to go to this. But what I will say is I enjoyed watching at home, and it does give me great satisfaction that I can talk with all of you after the show. So I'm pleased and I'm very thankful all of you have taken the time out to come and spend time with me. Just talk about the shows. For me, that's a big deal in itself. Kervin in house, hope you're doing well. Kervin, I wish Roman Reigns would relinquish the Raw Championship because Monday Night Raw needs champions on TV. I do agree, and here's the thing I would do. Let's do some fantasy booking just for a couple of seconds. Bear with me. Roman, I'd say now, I've beaten everybody. Who's left? There's no one left to face, and I'm sick of defending 2 championships every single time. From now on, I'm just defending one of these championships. I'm not defending both. And then that way you can perhaps do a triple threat match or whatever like that. Roman hasn't got to lose. He can lose the WWE championship that way by someone pinning someone else. And then that way you can perhaps build for the Survivor Series match. That's how I'd like to see it happen in the next couple of months, because it's the Universal Championship that Roman's held for 2 years, not the WWE Championship. So that's how I would get the belt off Roman. And if you people would agree, let me know. And if there's a different way you'd like to see it, then I'd be interested in knowing. It was for the kickoff. So absolutely yes, for 11 a.m. your time, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, like I say, it's early for you guys, but I appreciate that you all got up and watched it and enjoyed it still. And like I say, it's still in the middle of your daytimes, maybe start of your evenings for some of you. So I'm pleased you're taking time out to come and check me do a stream as well. Can you see WWE doing a UK WrestleMania? As much as I would love it, not in the near future. Obviously, we know we've got LA next year. I believe we've got Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken, is the following year for WrestleMania 40. One could dream for 41. We'll have to wait and see. I think we're still a way off. But one thing's for sure, I think we've opened the door tonight for perhaps another one of these shows in the United Kingdom. It wasn't a sellout tonight, but I think if Triple H was satisfied and WWE were satisfied with the business they did for having over 62,000 fans there this evening, and that's bigger than from a lot of the attendances they've done for a lot of shows this year. That's higher, I think, than the Rumble as well, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it's only WrestleMania currently that's outdone it. It definitely was bigger than SummerSlam. So it's a big market they could go for. So I hope they would try to do it again at some point in the near future. If not next year, maybe the year after. But WrestleMania, I would love it, but I think if it ever did, we're a few years away. And I think America's always going to come first with it. Why does Roman Reigns have both world titles? Because he's the one that keeps winning. It's as simple as that. Until someone beats him, he's going to have both. What do you think Edge's next move is now? I think he'll have Finn Balor in a singles match. I don't think he's finished with Judgment Day. He may have a small program with Dominic Mysterio. I still think maybe there might be a bit of tease if Dom will join up with the Judgment Day. I don't want it to happen. This is not happen. I don't want to happen. He doesn't fit the group, so he shouldn't join them. But I think maybe Edge and Dominic may do something on weekly TV, and I think then we can move on. But it seemed like Edge was already very forgiving with Rey Mysterio. They moved on quickly for Dom turning on Rey. That feels like it's the long-term direction, in my opinion. So I think that Edge's next move will be Judgment Day and the Finn Balor match, the singles match that we haven't had yet. C Nation also says, I feel bad for Dominic Mysterio. His dad, Ray, chose Edge over him for the tag match. Well, that's why Dom's upset as well, and that's why he turned on Daddy. And like I say, I can't wait to know what the Thanksgiving on Christmas Day is going to be like in the Mysterio household. If only they actually did one of those reality TV shows at this moment. I think a few people would be interested. Kevin says, don't blame Liv Morgan and Shayna because difficult to follow Gunther and Sheamus. And yet they had probably one of, if not the toughest spot of the night to fill, really, at this point. I mean, I originally thought this would be the match before the main event, but it wasn't. So, yeah, it was a difficult match to follow. The crowd did called off a little bit for it, but they got the job that they needed to. In my opinion, they gave the right result as well. And I hope Liv Morgan just moves on altogether. I'd like to see Ronda Rousey go off and do the stuff with Adam Pearce. Maybe Adam Pearce starts that sort of almost like an Austin sort of authority rivalry thing with Ronda Rousey. It seems to be working all right at the moment. I'd keep Ronda out of the championship picture because it just seems to be working for her. Liv Morgan can go and do other things on SmackDown. Like I say, I think Charlotte Flair will be returning soon, and that'll be the program they should do, in my opinion. Sheamus and Gunther, for me, it felt like a main event title match. It just completely smashed it. I completely agree. And do you know what I think? He says match of the year candidate for me. And I think, yeah, again, it's one of those, it's easily in top 5, top 6 matches of the year. I mean, I think 3 matches tonight could easily be in conversation for match of the year candidates, certainly on the WWE scale. And like you said there, Gunther and Sheamus was phenomenal. I think you're going to get it in the States as well. And one little note that I've not mentioned at this point, and God, I can't believe I've left it to now because I said it the other day on the NXT prediction show that it happened, but I didn't think with this soon. Fabian Eichner, of course, Giovanni Vici is with Imperium. I'm so happy they did that. It's something that I was going to do on a video anytime now. I was going to say I was debating on doing a video of people that need repackaging in WWE, things that need changing, tweaking, and that was going to be one of the top ones I was going to do. Bring Imperium back as they were. They did it tonight. I'm so happy they did that. I think we could even get the Brawling Brutes against Imperium in a program. We may even get Imperium versus the Bloodline further down the line. And I don't care what anyone says. I'm excited for that. And all 3 of them, put it in War Games. I'm a happy lad, I can tell you. Lucas says, like Ray Edge will face Judgment Day for the next pay-per-view. I mean, it just might. It's not necessarily finished. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see with it. And do you think Edge will win a belt again? I don't think he will at this stage of his career, to be honest now. I think he's done the championship matches. He went for it. It maybe would be a nice story to do because of the fact that Edge, had to retire as champion. So to get that moment again would be magical. But he did do a promo in Toronto when they were there a couple of weeks ago. And I think he said something like, if the stars aligned, that the next time would be his last time there. So maybe he's going to stop on his own terms. Maybe it's going to be in a year. Maybe he's not going to go and win a championship. And if he did win a championship, I think it'd be very short term. I don't think it would be long term. So we'll see how it will go personally. But if I had to predict now, Luca, honestly, I will say no, but never say never, I guess. Sinister says, how come WWE has not gave that Grand Slam champion win to Sheamus? It should have happened a while ago now, but when it does happen, it might be too late. It could be. I'll take the comment away so you can see me chin. It might be too late, but I don't think it is. I think it's never too late. I think this rivalry is going to continue personally. I think the States are going to watch that today and went, we need some of that on our shores. We need that on our continent. So I think the Imperium Brawl and Brutes is going to continue. I think there'll be an IC title match. Would it have been amazing to have Sheamus complete the Grand Slam tonight? Yeah, it would have been a very special moment. But I think Sheamus got a very special moment anyway with the big send-off at the end of the match. It was a really touching moment in the show, really touching moment as well from the UK crowd there. And it's those moments that make wrestling so special. Sometimes it sounds silly when some people usually say that their least favorite part is the wrestling because of those. It's moments like that is why people say that. But for me, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Coven says Brock Lesnar last match needs to be against Gunther. Oh, I agree with that. Would be a dream match, Kervin. Thank you for suggesting that. WrestleMania next year, anybody? I'd be down for that. Martin says, why doesn't Theory watch his back and sides before cashing in? The guy seems to not hit the moment. No, he doesn't. But that's the beauty of it. I hope he does this for like the whole calendar year, that he gets to a premium live event and he does something and it goes wrong. Couldn't he do like a Titus O'Neil moment, just trip on the way down to the ring and like be injured and have to be taken to the back or something? I just think that the magical moments, I've enjoyed both from this point. The SummerSlam one was good, but wasn't as well as executed as tonight because the ring was tilted. But I actually thought that the way it started was absolutely genius. Find creative ways to do it because I want Theory to hold it to the last day. I want him to be under peer pressure that he's not cashed that Money in the Bank briefcase in. Remember that time when Cain Velasquez challenged for the WWE Championship in his debut match? I do, but I try to block it out, C Nation. But as you've brought it up, yeah, I do, and it didn't go well for him, and I don't believe he wrestled again after. Underground says, how was the commentary for you guys watching at home, and how was the crowd? Did we do it justice on TV? For the commentary, did well. They explained that the Usos and Sami Zayn, while they weren't there, they weren't medically cleared because of the beatdown from Drew on SmackDown. Now, I did message Jonesy about that when he was there because he did say to me, "Oh, if the Usos are not there, I want to know why." And they were never going to be there. So, I mean, I thought, well, as I mentioned on commentary, I'll give that to Jones. I just dropped him a little message on that one. But at the same time, I thought that the crowd were hot for most of the show, if not all of it. It doesn't always come through perfectly on TV on every single moment. I mean, let's take some moments just for a second where I thought the crowd was a bit calmer. I thought Liv Morgan and Shayna Baszler was a calmer moment of the evening. Matt Riddle, actually, the entrance was quite calm up until the point where it was like original bro. And all of a sudden, after the announcement had finished, we could start hearing bros at home. It wasn't like a big whoa when he came out, which I thought maybe quite a few people may have thought he would have done. So there were moments where it wasn't as hot. But let me tell you, UK tonight did the show justice on TV. Anyone says the UK crowd was not hot tonight, for me, I would say it's in the top one or two crowds of the year. Canada was really hot the other week in Toronto when they did that. But I'm going to be biased and I'm going to say the UK did top it. And I think, if you're going to go from stadium shows as well, easily the loudest one of the year, easily the loudest one when it comes to the stadiums, because it's hard to get that real atmosphere in the stadiums as well and make that come across on TV because all of the energy goes upwards rather than towards the camera. Roman Reigns needs to take a clean loss. He does, but when he loses the championship, that's what I'm going to say. And this is not lost it yet. It's fine how they're doing it for now. Maybe they may even do it as a clean loss, but the fact is that everyone gets involved and doesn't succeed. So it's not clean on him losing. There's shenanigans still, but that babyface finds a way to win. We'll see. Martin says, I give it 9 out of 10. The fact that Sheamus, Gunther, Riddle, Rollins, Reigns, McIntyre, just enjoyable matches. Definitely worth rewatching in months' time. I totally agree. I think it's definitely worth watching again. If anyone hasn't seen it, go out your way to watch it. I think it's a solid show. You're not wasting your time. And I think it was overall, I'm very happy with how it turned out. Triple H is still doing ref bumps in Roman's matches after the Vince McMahon era. I think ref bumps will always be a thing. They've happened in every era. So, and it's a way to kind of create excitement and controversy. And I feel tonight it did fulfill its objective, even if he wasn't a fan of it, C Nation. If Sheamus turned face, then what happens to the Brawling Brutes? Does he also turn face or go their own way? Well, Pete Dunne could do it quite well. Butch, should I say Butch at this point still? I think he would be fine as a babyface. Rich Holland, I'm struggling with how he would do as a babyface, but he's always in the background anyway. And I do think that the Peaky Blinders that they are, I think that they do the job pretty well. And I actually could see a slight babyface turn perhaps on the horizon for this group. But we'll see once they get back on American shores, because of course they were always going to be seen as the babyfaces in this match. So let's see how it goes. Volta versus Sheamus, I'm saying it now as match of the year for WWE. It's definitely up there. I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. The sports entertainment side picks Drew and Roman, but if we're going to go for match of the night like that, but for sheer hard-hitting brutality, it depends what your flavor is, and this one, bloody hell. I mean, you could hear those back home, and I bet you, even in the cheap seats, I bet you they heard those loud and clear, because the slaps, the chops, the kicks, they were brutal from start to finish. And yeah, it was absolutely awesome. And yeah, they're just saying, Underground, you would not be aware of this actually at this particular moment. Commentary did make mention to the UK crowd saying Volta, not Gunter. They said, oh, people are remembering his old character, or his something from his past. That's what I think. That's the word Michael Cole used, something from his past, rather than actually saying that he used to be called Volta. So interesting that they did that. Is Ronda Rousey babyface or heel? Right now, babyface. I felt like they were trying to turn a heel, but babyface is what they're doing. So, yeah, for me, with Adam Pearce, I felt like he was the heel on SmackDown, and Ronda Rousey in this babyface actually works. So long may they continue doing what they're doing right now, because that's a good thing. Underground also says Imperium back together and a heart emoji. Absolutely can't agree more. I love the fact they're back together. They should have never broke that group up to begin with. Adam Pearce messed up big time last night when he was mad. Ronda Rousey was mad, and that's exactly the thing. Ronda Rousey, she got mad, and when Ronda Rousey gets mad, people get hurt. So Adam Pearce, better watch your tongue next time. Martin Green says it did feel that Triple H didn't like the fact that Giovanni was separated from Imperium and fixed it. Also adds another tag team to the main roster. Absolutely, SmackDown is loaded with tag teams. They might need to just do a little bit of a shake-up. Put one or two tag teams on Raw to balance, because Raw does not have any tag teams really at all at the moment, apart from the Street Profits and Alpha Academy that I can think off the top of my head. Mustafa Ali and Cedric, I guess, but it's a jobber tag team. And before people say Miz and Ciampa, yeah, but it's a short-term thing. RK Bro, but Randy's gone still for months. So they need one or two more teams just to fill things up on Raw in the meantime. Drew Gulak can't catch a break from women. First, he got attacked by Charlotte Flair, then Ronda Rousey. Now he gets tied up in the middle of the ropes by Scarlett, helping him from Karrion Kross. Yeah, that was a real image to end there. Karrion Kross looked dominant on his performance. Enjoyed everything they did with Karrion this past week on SmackDown. This is a bit of a weird one. I want him to shave his head. I want him to go back to the menacing, bald-headed Karrion Kross that we had previously. I'd like to see that guy come back, but I think people may remember too much of his old stuff at the minute. So I think that's why they're going with the change of look and kept it with the long hair that he's had on the Indies just for the time being. Underground says Papa H needs to repackage great grizzled young veterans. Should I do it properly? The grizzled young veterans and Simon Bronson Reed, Bray Wyatt, and Jobs. Jobs a good one. Call outs to Bron Breakker, Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes, Roderick Strong, Toxic Attraction. That would fill up the roster pretty nicely. But just the main one to go off there, grizzled young veterans. Yes, please. I did not like the character change they've had. Not a fan of how they are used right now, portrayed with Joe Gacy. Sooner that ends, the better. I want the grizzled young veterans back. I'm not doing the shoes off tonight like I did the other day, though. To speak on, what a show. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, my friend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I say, again, for anyone that's just tuning in as well, 8 out of 10 was my rating of it. I've gone through match by match. But any questions you've got for me, I've watched the press conference as well. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments below, your rating of the show as well. And if you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to SCW as well. Martin Guerrero says Triple H has sort of forced himself to build a formidable challenge now that one of the top faces in Drew McIntyre lost. Absolutely, they need to also rebuild Drew McIntyre if he's someone to continue going forward. But I think a good rivalry with Karrion Kross can build and make a new star in Kross, but also can actually rebuild Drew McIntyre as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it will be going forward. But yeah, someone like Cody, someone like Seth, they seem to be the heavy hitters that could be in contention right now. Sinesh also goes on to say, Drew McIntyre Tyson Fury singing was so cringe that I turned my off my TV. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, karaoke at the end of the show wasn't what I was expecting, but hey, it is what it is. And the UK crowd was singing along, but it's what Tyson Fury does a lot of in his fights. So yeah, and I love Underground says, how bloody dare, in a very British way as well, how bloody dare you? Did you get a cup of tea going with that as well? I was singing along with it. Good man that you were singing along with it. So doing the UK proud, we love to see it. Sination says, I was actually thinking Giovanni Vinci's single run in NXT 2.0 ended too fast. Imperium could have waited a year. Each to their own on it. For me, I don't mind Giovanni. Giovanni got more of a spotlight. He had some great matches, particularly with Carmelo Hayes. But I did find the entrance a bit cringe. And the fact now he's back with Imperium, for me, he's back where he belongs. That's just my personal opinion. But hey, we can agree to disagree. I don't mind. Neither of us are wrong. Your Underground Service plays. Your singing was great during McIntyre Tyson Fury. Singing was bad. There we go. There we go. The verdict's been given. Martin says, I have never seen great ovations for any other superstars than Sheamus and Drew today. British and world fans truly praise them really well. My reading skills were really off on that comment there, Martin. I do apologise, but yeah, I have to agree. Apparently, I think Triple H is something like 42 nations or something like that had travelled in for this show today. So that's really, really special. Shows that there is a global market as well. I'm sure a lot of people from all over Europe in particular came. Maybe some came from the States. It'd be interesting to see if people would make that journey. We usually do it for some of the state shows. What if people from the United States did it for the UK show? Interesting to know. Didn't mind the singing Tyson Fury. Some of the same songs. It seems like exactly. American Pie is the standard usually, and I think Drew McIntyre wanted Sweet Caroline as well, but he only knew the chorus himself. And then he realised the show still on. If Roman Reigns' undisputed title reigns gets more stale, they are that bad. At least they can watch AEW and Impact Wrestling to survive it. Well, that's the thing. If it's not your flavour, you can always come back when he loses the championship. I'm sure you've only got probably another 600 days to go. Maybe sooner than that. Someone got kicked out on the pre-show. Interesting, Underground. They weren't writing already, like your sign said, did they? Martin Correa also says here, I do feel that the singing was the best decision to do after a good match. It probably was to make the crowd happy after the loss. Yeah, I sort of agree. They did their best to try to want to make the crowd happy. They had no other surprises in the house. What else were they going to do? So yeah, I think it kind of probably did make good reason to do so. Underground just gives this connection. C Nation asked who it was, and he said he's well known on Twitter, but I shouldn't say who. No, don't say who on this one, on that particular point. But we're out of comments here, so I think that's where I'm probably going to look to wrap things up. If you've got a couple of comments, drop them in now. We can do a few more minutes. But for anyone in the meantime, please like the video, share with a friend as well, subscribe. This has been the Clash of the Castle review show from me. If you've missed anything, go back to the start. Would like to know your thoughts as well in the comments below if you're watching on delay also. And like I say, if you've enjoyed the video, subscribe. Also with WWE, there'll be more live streams coming. For AEW fans out there, we've got All Out tomorrow, of course. The predictions are on the channel now. If you're into NXT Worlds Collide, those predictions are on the channel now as well. So lots to go and check out on the channel. There's so many videos, so much content. It's been a very, very busy wrestling week. So anyone that hasn't seen those videos, feel free to go and do so. But thank you for watching anyway. No more comments have come in, so have yourselves a good one. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and I'll see you next time. This has been a lot of fun to do. So thank you very much for taking your time out to come and watch this. It really does mean a lot. I never get bored and never take this for granted. Let me tell you, it means a lot that you'll take time out of your day to watch SCW. But anyway, thank you for watching. All the best. Hope you enjoyed Clash of the Castle. Let me know if you're watching on delay. What was your favourite match in the comments now? See you soon. See you next time.